Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of SoTellUs Time. Today we're going to be talking about no decision is a bad decision. People get paralyzed. It's called decision paralysis. They don't know quite what to do. They don't know which marketing strategy they should do, like SEO or PPC or mailers. They have no idea what to do because it's not their forte. That's not what they did. They didn't start a marketing company. They started like a home inspection company or a carpet cleaning company or a dentist office. And so they're not quite sure what to do. So they make no decision. In fact, what ends up happening is because they don't know what to do, they don't want to spend money either, which is also a bad decision. So either they make no decision because they don't know what to do, so they just leave it be, or they say, well, I would have to spend money on this, but I don't really quite understand that. I don't understand SEO or PPC. I don't understand mailers and flyers. And I just don't know what to do. And I don't know who to hire. So I'm just not going to do that. And then they don't spend money either. So they're not doing it themselves and they're not spending money to have a professional do it for them. And I'll tell you what, a lot of times the answer is, as long as you can afford it, the answer is to pay the professional to do it. Right. In all honesty, we all wear so many hats, especially when we bootstrap our business. We're starting our companies and it's like, we're going 100 miles an hour down the road and, we also got to change the tires at the same time, and we got to put gas in it all at the same time. We're always running 100 miles an hour. And it's like, we're trying to do all of this while we're running 100 miles an hour. And so we're used to being like, well, I'm bootstrapping, so I need to know how to do it, or I need to do this because I don't have the money. But very quickly, you need to know when it is time to take action when you do have money, because that will actually hurt you as well. And I've got a perfect example of that. We had a client call in and they were like, hey, you know what? PPC just doesn't work. And I said, well, what do you mean PPC doesn't work? And he says, well, PPC just doesn't work in my industry. And I said, well, hold on, wait a minute now. Who did the PPC for you? Well, I was doing the PPC. And I said, okay, well, I do PPC. Our company does PPC for hundreds of people in your industry. And it works really well. And he's like, well, but it didn't work for me. And I said, well, here's the deal he's like, PPC sucks. And I'm like, you know what? I was like, well, and I have a great relationship with him. So I said, here's the deal. I said, let's just be real and honest right now. PPC doesn't suck. We know for a fact that it works. What sucks is you. You suck at PPC. It's not the PPC that sucks. It's the person doing the PPC for you, which is yourself. You didn't want to spend the money, so you tried to learn it yourself and it didn't work. So now you just want to say, and I think a lot of our listeners right now are going, yeah, I think I've experienced that. If they'll admit it, if they'll be honest with themselves, you tried to do something yourself. It didn't work. And so now you say, that doesn't work. And then you'll never go and now you're paralyzed. What does that have to do with making a bad decision or making no decision? You're paralyzed. You have paralysis, decision paralysis. You have made an assumption about something that really will work for you because you did it on your own instead of you were paralyzed in spending the money, which just doesn't make sense. And then even worse, again, is people who just won't make a decision.
Right.
And think about like a bodybuilder. Bodybuilders, like the big dogs, they've got to eat like 12,000 calories. I mean, there was one bodybuilder, Troy, who was it? What was his name? Something Goldberg or?
Oh yeah, it was Bill Goldberg. He's actually not, well, he's a bodybuilder, but he's like in the, WWE
wrestling,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was off like for years. He kind of retired and they want him to come back.
Yeah.
And of course he doesn't have the same body that he did when he was wrestling. So I watched this interview with him and he's like, I'd eat like 20,000 calories
20,000
a day.
Calories. That's insane. That's insane. I mean, I'm lucky if I consume probably 1,500 calories.
Right.
I mean, and that's just because I'm so busy running throughout the day. But 20,000 calories. Now, here's the thing is when you're eating like that, I remember reading this article and these guys were talking about that this one guy was talking to his coach and he was saying, well, what do I do when I'm out, when I'm traveling and I'm doing all this stuff? And he's like, listen, you got to make the best of a bad decision. So you're surrounded by processed food and, all this fast food and everything like that. And you just have to make the best of a bad decision because it is the worst. The worst decision is to miss a meal. These guys cannot miss a meal. It does not matter. They can't miss a meal. So they have to make the best of a bad decision. So they said, look at research it, go out there and make your best bad decision. So don't go maybe get the burger and the French fries, but go see if you can get like a chicken salad and, add in, who knows, maybe a shake. I don't even know. but you've got to get the calories. You have to consume them because it's a worse decision to do nothing and miss that meal. And that's really business as well.
Yeah. I mean, these guys literally, like bodybuilders, the top performers, they have to wake themselves up in the middle of the night.
Yes.
And eat a meal in the middle of the
insane?
night, because if they go to sleep and sleep 8 hours without eating, they're going to lose muscle in that 8 hour period. So, they have to, like you said, they have to make the best decision of what's available, because not making a decision
is even worse.
More detrimental.
And that's the thing is people go, well, they get paralyzed because they go, well, I don't know about SEO and I don't know if I trust somebody. And it was funny because we had a client recently that just did this with us, and they're questioning the SEO. And they were like, well, we don't know if we can trust what you're saying to us. And we're like, well, here's the proof. So we're giving them all the proof, which we give them in their reports every month. And it's like, here's the proof. And we're going, okay, they say, well, we're not the experts. You're the experts. They kept saying that to us.
Yes.
They were being paralyzed because they were afraid of, that they didn't know enough, but then they were also afraid to pay us because they just were paralyzed by decision. And so they were making no decision. It's just silly. We run into this all the time where people are just afraid to make a decision. So if you have to make a decision and you think that they're both two bad decisions, then look at them, analyze it. You're smart. You're business owners. You started this business. You're running a business. You're growing a business. You're doing amazing. Good job. We're so excited. Give you claps. Woo, clap for you. You guys are doing awesome. You're smart people. So you can even make the best of a bad decision. And if you have to, what should you do, Troy, if you make a decision and you find out that it wasn't a good one?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, you're going to make a decision and you're going to move forward on it. And then the best thing you can do is, if it's not the right decision, you fail fast.
Fail fast.
I love that phrase. You want to fail fast, because here's the thing. If you fail fast, it didn't work, and then you can move on to the next thing. I was actually this weekend, my son and I had him watch a documentary on Zig Ziglar, who's a motivational speaker.
Awesome.
Yeah, and passed away in 2012, but I've just affected millions and millions of people with what he did. And I wanted my son to understand what he taught and the motivational things, so that he can start planning his goals and his future. And one of the stories that they talked about in this documentary was Edison. Right? Who invented the light bulb.
Yes.
And they said in here that in the documentary that Edison failed thousands of times, right?
Yeah.
And according to the story, a reporter came and kind of was like, poking at Edison a little bit, saying, you're trying to create this light bulb and you failed thousands of times. So are you pretty, disappointed in what you've done, right? You're a failure, basically. Right. And according to the story, how the story goes, Edison basically turned around and he goes, no, I've just figured out thousands of ways that it doesn't work. So I haven't failed. I've just successfully figured out thousands of ways that it does not work yet.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm on the verge of success.
Exactly. And that's the thing. He failed fast. And that's what I want to talk about, because again, he obviously had thousands of different ways that he thought it might work. And if he had been paralyzed in the decision of which one do I do first, because I got to make the right decision, because I got to get this right the first time, he never would have done anything. That's right. And we wouldn't have the light bulb. Instead, he said, you know what? I'm going to fail fast. I'm going to try it. Boom. That didn't work. Move next. Move to the next thing. Move to the next thing. Right. So, that's the key, is failing fast. Make the decision. Now, again, do the research, try to make the very best decision you can, but then fail fast and move on to the next decision.
Yeah. Yeah, which takes us back to that story about the PPC. It's a perfect thing. So he made the decision to do it himself. Okay, great. That's what he wanted to do. He spent his time, energy, and efforts trying to learn it, which honestly was probably a waste of time, obviously, because it didn't work. Yes. And so, but he made that decision. He tried it. It didn't work. And so he shut it down. Now, great. You can't then just write it off. It's not like Edison started all over from scratch. He took what he knew and he moved forward and changed it. And so now the next step would be to go out and find somebody that you could be confident in and have trust in to try the PPC for you. You have to try it multiple ways, because you can't just say, well, SEO doesn't work for me, or well, PPC doesn't work for me. Websites don't really get me any business. I hear that one all the time. Well, my website doesn't really produce me anything. That's crazy.
Even not even marketing. Like maybe it's like, oh, I hired an employee and he sucked.
Yeah.
And so I can't hire employees.
Absolutely.
I can't have employees in my business anymore.
Yeah.
No, you made a decision. You failed fast. You got rid of that employee. Now find the right employee.
Exactly right. And that's the thing. Perfect example of that. My father-in-law runs a business. He makes millions of dollars. He runs it by himself. He has tried to hire people over the years. They have stolen from him. They have been lazy. They've been terrible. He does not want to hire people. So he doesn't. And he still does really well for himself.
Yes.
But he's the sole entrepreneur. He's wearing all the hats all the time. And now that he's getting older, he's going, man, how am I going to retire? This is like, I really need someone to be out doing these runs for me because I'm just getting old. Take that on the flip. His son-in-law basically learned the same business. He went out, he hired, he, went through hundreds. We went through hundreds of people that didn't work.
Right.
And to find the few that did work. And literally, he has a big business. So he went through hundreds of people that didn't work to find the few that did work. And now he has built a business that dwarfs. It is huge. It's multiple millions. So much bigger. We didn't even realize the industry could be that big. And he's crushing it. So there's the difference there of one that said, hey, this doesn't work. And then another that came along and said, you know what, that didn't work, fail fast, try this. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, fail fast. Okay, this didn't work, tweak this, tweak that, and moved forward and now had success, right? Yep. So don't be afraid to fail fast.
Yeah, exactly. That's first and foremost, because again, failures is where you learn a lot of what you need to do in your business. There's another quote, again, that my son, who's writing down all these quotes, awesome, from this Zig Ziglar documentary. And another one that he said, that Ziglar always said, was, failure is not a person, it's an event. Meaning that you're not a failure.
Absolutely.
You may have failed, and that's an event, right? But you're not a failure. So, fail fast, get that event out of the way, and then move to the next thing. So, all right. So I think we've covered that one. All right, Trevor, what about being a perfectionist?
This is a big problem.
It's got to be done perfect.
Yeah, this is a big problem. And what happens is that people get paralyzed by perfection.
Yes.
This happens all the time. Every day when we walk into a business and we're consulting with them and we're giving them, we're helping them grow, they're like, man, I say, hey, you need to write this article. And they try to write the article and they come back and it's like days later and I go, well, where's the article? They go, I haven't been able to write the article. I'm like, why? Well, it's because I've wrote it 100 times, but I just can't get it the way I want it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're trying to make it perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. Nothing in life is perfect. Yes. Nothing in life is perfect. And so you can look at your website. I guarantee lots of listeners right now, there's content on your website that you don't love. And that's okay because you're still generating business from it. There might be a video. I remember a long time ago, I was trying to make this video and I was going video after video after video. And I just kept deleting it and deleting it and deleting it. and I just couldn't get it right. And finally, a good friend of mine said to me, and a smart businessman, he told me, he goes, why are you trying to make it perfect? You're not perfect. The people who are going to see this video are not perfect. Imperfections make us, and they make us relate to other people as well. If you try to make it perfect, you'll never make it, you'll never succeed, and you will never get it out there, and you will never get your message to the people that you're trying to help.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's the thing. So emails, everything, all the time we run into people that's like, they never get their website launched because they can never write the content for it. They never get the video shot because they can't, say it exactly the way they want to say it, or they mess up a little bit, or, and it was fun because one of the things I did is I started that live Facebook, show, yes, the original SoTellUs Time, before it was just a podcast, or now that it's a podcast, it was a live Facebook show. And I had to learn in that guess what? When I messed up, there was no, click pause, delete, reverse. It was just, I had to keep going. So if I said the wrong word, guess what? Lots of people say the wrong words. Or if I had a little brain fart and I couldn't think of what I was going to say next, I just had to move on. And sometimes, what the best thing to do was own it. Yes. I just owned it and said, man, I really can't remember the word that I'm trying to say right now, or I can't remember the direction I was going with that. So anyways, let's get back to what's important. And I would just move on. And what's funny? People responded so good to it. They would write and be like, oh, that was so funny. And I totally get that. I'm just like that. Being a perfectionist means you will never launch. You will be paralyzed in making a decision.
Yeah, it's funny you say that too, because it reminds me of back when we were creating the video for the Post Place, our sales video. So, we created this system called the Post Place. It's a content marketing system and it's absolutely amazing. Yeah. And we wanted to shoot this video for it. And we spent like a month or two, recording and re-recording and going because we wanted it to be perfect. It had to be perfect because we were putting this out there. We were driving, Google ads and Facebook ads to it and all that stuff. And we got it and we thought it was perfect. And we spent forever doing it, and then it totally sucked. It didn't perform at all. Not at all what we thought it was going to perform. And we're like, what we quickly realized was, well, that sucked. We spent like a month and a half working on this, thinking that it was perfect.
Yeah, we thought it was.
Yeah, we thought it was, but it was not perfect. It didn't work. So what did we do? We sped up the process and we started cranking out. Well, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's change this. Boom, 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 boom. And then all of a sudden it clicked.
Yep.
We got it right. And then it was cranking, and we were making tons of money off of selling that, the post-play system.
And the funny thing was it was the imperfection that made it real.
Yes.
It was, we added in some videos of our clients that had some great success. And some of these videos we had to record over Skype.
Yes.
And so the videos were horrible, but people loved it. They ate it up. It was in the imperfection that people felt connection.
Yeah, there's literally in one of the videos, which we have a client of ours who we absolutely love, and we're doing this video with him, and he's, it's a Skype call on video, and one of his employees like walks into the room in the back, so you can see him over his shoulder. This employee like goes in, oh shoot, and then like slowly backs out of it or whatever. It was so funny. But we were like, oh man, what do we do? Do we like redo that entire conversation? We're like, you know what? No. And people thought it was great. They thought it was hilarious. So, but that's the key is perfectionism. It's just not going to happen in your business. So get it out there, right? Just get it out there and get it done. And then you can fix it. You can correct. But if you spend all the time trying to make it perfect, there's a good chance it's going to be wrong anyways.
And you wasted time, energy, efforts, and money to do it.
Yes. All right.
So what about some suggestions? What can people do?
So what do you do if you're struggling with this, making no decisions or making bad decisions? Here's some things that we came up with that you guys can do. First and foremost, and this one's going to sound like a no-brainer, but hire someone who's the expert.
That's right.
If it's, and again, whether it's marketing, whether it's HR, hiring employees, whatever it might be in your business, if you can afford to hire the expert because you're not the expert,
right,
then do that.
And with that, fail fast. If it's not working, don't be afraid to fire them, but don't, and then don't be afraid to say, now I need to try someone else. I need to see, because maybe it was this person. Because we have had that personally in our own business where we've hired people to do some of our stuff for us and it didn't work. And I couldn't just stop and say, well, that doesn't work. No, we got somebody else. And you know what? Guess what? The second time, it didn't really work. It kind of worked. It was a little bit better. And then the third time, it worked a little bit better. And by the fourth person, it started to crank.
Yes.
It was awesome. And I'll tell you, it was Facebook. It was Facebook ads.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And we just needed some help in running. It's like the shoemaker's kids. The shoemaker's kids never have shoes. We needed some help because we were doing all this marketing for our clients and we were so busy and everything like that. We needed some help with our own. And so we had to bring these people in because that one little piece, it was just that one piece that we weren't fulfilling for ourselves that we knew we needed to be. So we're right here with you. We have experienced all these things. That's why we talk about these different subjects.
Yes.
So what's next?
All right. So the next one is if you don't have you might be saying to me, well, I don't have a budget to hire someone, right? I've got to do it myself. I'm bootstrapping it right now. Okay. Well, then seek advice from the most knowledgeable person you have access to and move forward. So if you can't hire somebody to do it, then find someone that you know that you can connect with that is knowledgeable in whatever you need to do. And ask them to just let me pick your brain. Let me take you out to get a steak dinner. I'll buy you $100 steak and let me just pick your brain on exactly what I should do. That's another great way to do it. So find that person and then get the information out of them that you can and then move forward that way. And then, but then again, once you can afford the expert, get the expert.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's a real important thing too, because we can't always afford the expert. And we also need to make sure we understand what we're good at and what we're not good at.
Yeah.
And we'll have a whole nother podcast on that. But, deciding what you should be doing in the business versus what you should be hiring people to do in the business is really important as well. So, all right, Trevor, let's move on to the last couple of things here. What other suggestions would you have?
So that broken record, we always are talking about this, but track everything, track the results, set up something that can give you some sort of, reporting so that you know when to pivot. It's so important to say, okay, this isn't working and I need to change it and I need to do this. But you could go a long time and waste a lot of money if you don't have something to track it. And I can't tell you, I perfect example. Had a client call me up one day, and I'm at the gym, and I'm on the treadmill. And, when I say I'm at the gym and I'm on the treadmill, I had that back surgery. I'm like barely limping along on this treadmill, just trying to do my physical therapy, what they were telling me to do and everything. But here I am sitting there, and I'm kind of already in pain and everything. And I get this text message that says, "Hey man, what's going on? Did you stop running and doing all the marketing for me, running ads and doing this marketing?" And I'm like, what is he talking about? So I texted him back and I said, "Hey, what's going on? What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, my phone stopped ringing. I haven't had any phone calls." And I'm going, what? So luckily, I do the tracking, right? And the reporting. So I pull up the call log because we're tracking and recording the calls. I pull up the call log and I'm like, today alone, just today alone, this morning, he's had 7 phone calls. What is he talking about? And so I just simply texted him and said he was on his way. His office was on my way home from the gym. So I said, I'm going to stop in. So I just shot him a text, said, I'll be there in just a few minutes. Got off the treadmill, hobbled out to the car, drove over there and went inside and said, "Hey, what's going on? What do you mean that the phones aren't ringing?" And he's like, "Well, I've been sitting back here, doing some work and everything. And I just don't feel like I've heard the girls up front on the phones." And I said, "Well, have you talked to him?" He's like, "Well, no, I just feel like I haven't really, I was, sitting here writing this report and I realized I don't feel like I've heard the girls on the phones." And I'm like, "So wait a minute, you freaked out and texted me and saying that, my marketing's not working or that did I stop the marketing or what's going on because your phones aren't ringing, but you haven't even asked the girls if they've been on the phone at all today?" And he's like, "No." And I said, "Okay, well, here, let me show you. Here's the report for today. You've already had 7 phone calls just this morning. These are all new clients, new patients." And he was like, "Oh." And one of the gals walks back right then and he says, "Hey, has the phone's been busy today?" And she's like, "So busy, swamped. I'm filling your schedule up right now." And he's like, "Oh, that's awesome." And now he's all excited again and everything. And I'm like, come on, you got to track and report. And the funny thing is I send him the report. So if he would have just even been paying attention, he would know. But the point is, you've got to know when to, put it on and say this isn't working, or when to back off and say, oh my gosh, this is working, and give credit where credit is due.
And it's really important too to give it, make sure no matter what it is that you give it the right amount of time.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you how many times someone starts something and then they're like, boom, I'm out.
Yeah.
I remember, again, we have all these stories. Again, we love our clients, by the way. You may hear us eventually be like, oh my gosh, this client. But we love our thousands of clients all around the world.
They are family. They are our friends. And everything we share here, like I said to him, I was like, dude, you texted me that without really checking it, just like I told you guys, I told him,
Yeah, so we're family, so we're going to tease each other and do things like that.
Yeah.
But again, another client who, same thing, PPC, turned it on, literally got 2 clicks and turned it off. And he's like, it doesn't work. And I'm like, what? He's like, why? 2 clicks.
Yeah.
Didn't get a job. So make sure make sure again that you're planning and giving enough time to actually see the results and track the results, but don't give it too much time that you realize you wasted thousands of dollars.
I really should pull up on this video our own PPC. I mean, it's funny. I should pull up our PPC because if I were to show you our PPC, we spend over $10,000 a month on our own personal PPC. We get thousands and thousands of clicks. Now, this might help you guys out. This might really make it make sense to you because this is what it's like. This is what online marketing is like. We spend thousands, tens of thousands of dollars every month, $100,000 a year, and we get thousands and thousands of clicks every single month. And off of those clicks, then I can show you where we track it. We get opt-in wise, we get about 100 from thousands of clicks. We get about 180 to 220 opt-ins from that. And then I can keep going down with my numbers. I can tell you from the opt-in, then how many demos schedule, then from the scheduled demos, how many demos close, how many sales we got that month. So we're tracking everything. We're doing everything we tell you guys to do. But think about that. We're spending thousands of dollars a month, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just on PPC, not events, not SEO, not anything else that we're doing. We're getting thousands of clicks, which means thousands of visitors. But out of that, we're getting hundreds of people that are opting in to get more information. And then out of that, we're getting, about 100 orders off of the PPC a month.
Right.
So think about that. You cannot turn it on, spend $30, getting 2 clicks and go, oh, that didn't work. I didn't get into business.
Yeah.
Exactly. Doesn't work like that.
So yeah, exactly. So track the results. And then, all right, the final thing, what was the call to action for today, Trevor?
Yes. Today, what you guys need to do is you need to Absorb what we've just been talking about. Then you need to do an analysis of your business. Think about what is something you've been holding off on doing because you were paralyzed by decision. You were paralyzed because you didn't either understand it, it's not your forte, it makes you nervous, or you were paralyzed because you were afraid to spend the money. But at the end of the day, we all know we have to spend money to make money. You can only bootstrap for so long. You can only go off of referrals for so long. I talked to a guy the other day that said, I've been doing business and my whole business is off of referrals. It's awesome. And I said, that is awesome. Now, what other channels of, leads do you have coming in or business do you have coming in? He's like, well, nothing. And I'm like, okay, at any time, if you have one channel for leads or business, it can dry up. It can stop. Something can change. You need to have multiple, we call it the tree, multiple branches coming off of that tree that come to the trunk that make those great roots. This is what builds your business. The big tree trunk is your business. And those tree branches are how, you build that branch or that big base up. So you need to have multiple channels coming in. So look at your business. What is something you've been holding off of because of money or just don't understand it? And then say, how can I move forward with this?
Right.
I challenge you to do that. I think you will find good results in that. And then if it doesn't work, fail fast, boom, stop it, change something, alter it just a little bit and move forward. Think about in your own business. If you go out to a job or you're doing something for a client and it doesn't quite work the way you want, do you just say, well, hands in the air, see you later. I couldn't figure it out. No. You are gonna make it work. You are gonna be the MacGyver of your industry. I promise you, we are the MacGyvers of consulting and podcasts and marketing and reviews. We're gonna figure it out. We're not gonna just we're not gonna just walk away from the job, and neither are you. So get your inner MacGyver out and figure it out. Guys, this has been really fun. I'm really excited. You guys can do this. You guys are amazing business owners. It's been so exciting this last, year that we've spent with you guys. We're excited to spend this new year with you. We're so grateful for all of the downloads and all of the subscribers. Every day we get new subscribers. We get more downloads, thousands of downloads. This has been really good. We're so excited that you spend your time with us and we're honored to do it. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work. Troy, anything else?
No, just last thing would be just, share the podcast with other people. I'm sure people who have businesses and could use the help. So make sure that you're passing it along and sharing it with other people so that we can help everybody get better.
That's right. We appreciate you. We love you. And we're rooting for you. We will catch you guys on the next SoTellUs Time.